Page 6 in the Tractate Berachot. Tanya Abba Binyamin Omer. We have few memrot from Abba Binyamin, so that's another one. אלמלא ניתנה רשות לעין לראות, אין כל בריאה יכולה לעמוד מפני המזיקים. A person in our language, in our time, have all kind of entities around him or her that they not even recognize. Mazikim in ancient time, it's in a simple literal sense, it's like a demons, but it means in a broader sense that we live in a very spiritual world, and those entities around us that we are not able to see are much bigger, at least in the numbers. Small source for that, the rabbis tells us, is the Torah portion of Balak. The Torah tells us that Bil'am, God turned around his eyes and he was able to see the Malach, the angel before his donkey. So it means that around us there are a lot of entities, and they are not so good in a sense. They call it mazikim. Amar Abaye inhu nefishi minan v'kaimelan ki kisla leugya. Again, you have to remember that this is Talmudic time. They are able to see things much better than us. But he said that those who are around, they are much more than us, and they staying. If you take, for example, a vineyard, and you see a tree, a grape tree, so they put around it a little bit some type of area to put the water. So he said in those days they were able to look and see them. For sure we are not able nowadays to see those things, but Amar Avuna kol chad v'chad binan alpa mismale v'rive v'tamimenei. You know, there is a sentence in the book of Psalms 91 that we said many times. You see a thousand and many myriads in your left and right, so meaning that God protected us all the time against all those entities that we don't want to focus on them, but we need to recognize that there are entities that try to stop us from doing service of the Lord. In the Babylonian time, it was a time that is called Yarchei Kala, which means people gather together for a time of study. They used to do it twice a year. So it's called a gathering for Kvod Torah, for Amud Torah, like we did several days ago in the Siyum HaShas. It's gathering of many people. So Yar Kala, it's people by thousands get together in the 2 months a year, one in the month of Adar and one in the month of Elul, and people just get like a sardine, they squeezed because there are so many. So it depends how you take it, but there is some who say that there are too many people around, and he called it Hanebirke de Shalhei Minayu, Hanemane Rabbanan Devalo Mechuf Yadidu, Hanekare de Minakfan Minayu. So he just want to express that the knees they get tired, and those who come there and they notice that. Again, we're not going too much to the esoteric part, but it means in a very literal sense, you have a shirt, for example, and that shirt, all of a sudden, after a relatively short time, you see that the shirt is already worn out, and you're wondering why. So in that interpretation, it means that there's entities around you that squeeze you, that get around you. But again, we're not focusing too much on this matter. We just want to get the point. If you really want to see it, and again, remember, this is the Talmudic time. When I was in service, we used to have a group of Bedouin that's called Gashashim. And those people in special forces, they used to go around the border, and at the middle of the night, the most darkest moment, they can recognize even a cat that crossed the border. So it means that when you are sleeping in the desert, and you put a special sign around you, like a special something on the sand, and then you recognize them. How? He says that if you wake up in the morning, you see around that they have legs the same as the chicken. You came from South Africa, so you know that the turkey has a different legs than the others. By the way, the great Rabbi Moshe Sternbuch hold a different attitude of kashrut when it comes to turkey for people in South Africa. So it means that those shadim, those demons, had like in our language, instead of regular human 2 legs, they have like the legs of the chicken. But again, it's just a meaning that he woke up in the morning and he saw this signal around him that was there, but he couldn't see it. Hayman devayle mechizinu, if one want to see it, laide shilida de shuntre ukamta ba ukamta bukharta ba bukharta velekle benua v'shachle velemile yednei velmine v'lechazelu. He said again, if you want to see it, you have to take a black cat, you have to raise a long, large amount of cats, has to be black, has to be a firstborn, again, and you have to take the part of the shilya, which means that when they deliver the baby, they have like a balloon, and you squeeze it, and then you put it a little bit around, a small amount around your eye, and you can see it. Again, not in a sense of practical matter, just to get the point across. So basically you can put it in the special spot that you lock it so no one can take it from you. And you should seal it in order to avoid any damage. Again, this is we should not belittle this. This carry a lot of secret and not simple literal sense. And there are rabbis who go to the Maharal and others who go to the esoteric part of this text. We're not going there at this point, but you should know that there is carry a meaning. It was a rabbi that he did all this formula that they expresses here when he damaged himself. So the rabbis pray for him and he was healed. So again, we're not dealing with that, it's just a memra from Abba Binyamin. Another one, Tanya Abba Binyamin Omer, En tfilah shel adam nishmat ela bebet hakneset. There is a very important emphasis, you hear it from me in endless times, the importance to daven, to pray in the house of worship, in the Bet HaKnesset. There are people who feel, oh, I should meditate alone in the field. It is great, it is wonderful to do it in a personal level when it's not a time for Shachris Min Chamari. If you are a breast level Chassid, which we have some, and we love them, it's wonderful, and I love the Shita of Reb Nachman. You want to do it during the day, it's awesome. When it's come the time that we have to have a minyan, a group of people to daven, regardless if we have 20 people or 100 people, the idea is to daven, to pray in the house of worship. So even a person may think that, oh, well, come on, I can focus better in my home, and no one bother me. It's better to do it in a place because it's called Mikdash Mehat, the miniature temple. Shene'emar, there's a pasuk that we said during the Slichot, Lishmoa el harina ve'el hatfila. So when King Solomon said in the first book of King, when he expresses the idea that Hashem accepted in his prayer, so he said that you should listen to your servant that pray for you all day. Rina and tefillah is a sense of a praying, meaning that if King Solomon did it in the Beit HaMikdash, the Beit HaKnesset, the rabbi said that the synagogue, that is a small miniature temple for sure, carry an important, Kumkum Rina, Sham Tehet Tefillah, a place that Rina, that we are praiseworthy the Lord, that is also a place that is proper to pray. And he said another thing, Amar Avin Baravad Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, the same agenda. How do you know that the Almighty dwell in a synagogue? There's a sentence in the book of Psalms 82 that said that God dwell in a place that the people in gathering. So a place that the people in gathering to serve Him, that's the place that the Almighty is there. So how do you know that even like we are recently in the airport, and in the airport you just get 10 people and you daven, so how do you know that God is there? Because they say that God is well in a place that the people in gathering. Amidah, as we learn from the spies, from the Maglim, it means 10. So in other words, we have a category. The best is to do in a place that we have the Sefer Torah and a synagogue. If not, then it's a place that you have 10 people, because in the sense that's the place that Hashem dwells. It's called Amidah. Now we talk another quorum that we have a God dwelling there. This is a rabbinical court. How do you know that when you have the Bet Din, the rabbinical court, that the divine is with them? Shene'emar bekerev Elokim mishpot. Elokim it's the same as they said in the book of Shemot in Exodus 22, that it's applied to the three judges, that they have different discussions, and then they need God to open their eyes. And they said Elokim, God of judgment, which is the attribute of God, one of the attributes of God, is the God of judgment by the name of Elokim. He is dwelling in the rabbinical court. ומניין לשניים שיושבים ועוסקים בתורה שכנה עמהם, we have here a program with Ner Israel Yeshiva from Baltimore that we call it Chavrusa. Two people study together. Different subject, different Chavrusa. So here they talk about Chavrusa. They said, how do you know that if two people sit together and study Torah like the Chavrusa, that the Shekhinah, the divine providence, is with them? So they said, שנאמר, אז נדברו יראי השם איש אל רעהו. At that time, the people who have feared of the Lord, they discuss Vayaksheva Hashem. Again, is an anthropomorphic way, is a human language way, that God, in our language, listened, and Vayishma Vayiketev, and God put it in the book of remembrance. That's from the prophet Malachi, book of Malachi, chapter 3. Mai lechoshvei shemo. So what does that mean, lechoshvei shemo? So that choshvei shemo, meaning that people who have in their thought the name of God. Ravashi explained it. חשב אדם לעשות מצווה ונאנס ולא עשה, מעלה עליו הכתוב כאילו עשה. If a person have in his mind to do a mitzvah and somehow he couldn't make it, for some reason it didn't happen, so we, מעלה עליו הכתוב, that even he somehow could not make it, it's a phrase in our belief that it's called מעלה עליו הכתוב, that we consider that as כאילו עשה. It's like he did it.
So that implies that the intent is more important than the action itself?
It means that the intent with the action together are very important, but if someone by force of circumstances, a good question, could not fulfill his godly wishes to do a mitzvah, we still reward him. But the intent himself, it's not sufficient, he needs to do the mitzvah also. It's just if there are circumstances that he could not do the mitzvah. Good question. If you are in a circumstance that the Mishnah tells us in the Pirkei Avot that the person needs to study by himself, you're flying, you're by yourself, you're on the way to Australia, right? And all of a sudden you are by yourself on a plane. So you need to study. Why? Because they said that the divine providence with you. Because they said here, Bechol hamakom asher azkir et shmi, God said in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, in every place that you remember or mention my name, I dwell upon you and I bless you. So even one person that mentioned the name of God, it's in a sense, the Iyun Yaakov call it kinu elai Torah, that it's like a way that Hashem come upon him and dwell on him. It's like in our language, again, it's like we have a partnership with God, that God is in a search of man, and man is not alone. It's God and man, they are both in our language partners, and the partnership comes toward the study of Torah. Now we go the opposite way. So if you tell me that even one person have the Shekhinah with him, so why you need to bother with two? To tell us that the Shekhinah, it's obvious. If you tell me that if one person study by himself, the Shekhinah is with him, so I need to say Chavrusa about two. If there are two, there is a book of remembrance which mentioned Rosh Hashanah, that there is a book open very soon, which the day of Oz, the day of remembrance. So the book's open for righteous and wicked. So there's a part that we call that it's inscribed. We said that in the Mishnah in Avot, all you did inscribe in a book. So that's part. The Khatam Sofer wants to elaborate to that a little bit, and he said there is a huge difference between study by yourself and study with the Chavrusa, and we mentioned that several times. Study by yourself is awesome. However, you can dwell on something that is incorrect. Chavruta, someone who is a little advanced than you, or someone who's have the ability to open your eyes, you both have some type of talk, and sometimes you lighten the eyes of someone else. So it's crucial to have a chavruta, to have a study mate that can open your eyes. So that's the idea. If you tell me that the divine is dwelling two, so why I need to mention three? As we said earlier about rabbinical court. Mahu de tema. You may say dina shlama be'almahu veloat yashchina. Maybe you said that it's only if you make peace then is no divine providence. That, in other words, that the court system is just a tool by the civilians to make a peace, to create a peace among the inhabitants. But those who see it, they don't have the same category as people who study Torah. Kamash Melan, so he's going to tell us that Torah, that even sit in the court and have a discussion that looks like mundane discussion, it's still considering a study of Torah. And so far you told me that it's a 1 and 2 and 3. So if you tell me all of that, the divine providence is by the 3, so why I need to bother with the minion, with the asara? Asara mibaya is obvious. So the answer, asara kan b'shchina ve'atziyat lata adiatve. If you have, again, in a sense, when it's a place of having a daily minion, and they have the quorum of 10, and again, it's in our language that the Shekhinah, it's the one who's there first, in a sense that God is there, and therefore the rest is like dwelling when they come there. Like the divine is there. You have the Sefer Torah, you have the synagogue. So when the Dayanim, the rabbinic judges, they're sitting in the court, it's Bekerev Elokim Ishpo, that God helped them. But he's not, again, in our language, he's not the first one who come there and waiting for them to dwell, versus the house of worship, the shul, that God is, in our language, is already is there. Amar Rabbi Yavin Barada Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Minayin shakadosh baruch hu maniach tefillin. So, again, when we're speaking about God and God's attributes, it's very important to understand that we're not talking in the human language. It's just Dibra Torah Kelshon Bnei Adam. The Torah speaks in a language that people understand. We use this term anthropomorphic, which means it's a human language that we understand. So what we try to say is, when we use the word anger of God, wrath of God, happiness of God, etc., is attributes for us to understand the heavenly entities. So, Amar Rabbi Yavin, by the way, I must say one word that I think it's crucial to remember, that if one sometimes get discouraged for coming to synagogue and somehow, Baruch Hashem, here we have a minyan, but if you go to all different locations, and many of us who are travelers, and you see places and all of a sudden there is no minyan, and you figure out I better study, I better daven by myself, whatever I am, you should know that it's always better to daven in a shul rather than to daven by yourself. Just, I feel it's important for people to be aware. Amar Rabbi Alveina Baravad Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Minayin shakadosh baruch hu maniach tefillin. How do you know that God putting tefillin, meaning the hand and the head, shene'emar nishba Hashem b'yamino b'zruah kodsho. They said that in Isaiah 62, they said that God, the same way as someone who's taking a serious oath, so he is putting his hands on the something that carry a kedusha. For example, in the rare cases, he puts his hands on a Tanakh or in something that carry sanctity. So bimino, yemino, meaning the right hand, like we use in the Tehillim, Yemin Hashem Osachai, Yemin, it's right hand. They said mimino, zot Torah. Mimino, it's applied to Torah. Shene'emar mimino esh dat lamo. They said in the book of Deuteronomy 33 that it's the fire of God is in the right hand. Ubizroa uzo, in the arm. Elu tefillin. Zroa uzo, that usually it's in the left hand. It's applied to tefillin. Shene'emar Hashem oz le'amo yitem, that God gives strength to His people. It's a Tehillim, it's the Psalm 29, that God give the strength to His people. Strength is the mitzvah of tefillin that bring them strength. Uminayin she'tefillin oz el Yisrael. How do you know that tefillin bringing strength to the Am Yisrael? Dichtiv v'ra'u kol ha'am ha'aretz ki shem Hashem nikra lecha v'yaru imeka. All the world see that the name of God is dwell on you and you are a good role model, and they have the awe, the respect to it. It's Deuteronomy 28. Rabbi Eliezer Hagadol Omer, Elu tefillin shebarosh. Why? Because in the head tefillin you have the shin outside, right? So when you have the shin outside, it's a symbol that it's a strong correlation between Hashem and us. אמר לרב נחמן בר יצחק לרב חייא בר אבין, הנה תפילין דמראי עלמא מה כתיב בו? If you want to talk about the tefillin of the Almighty, what is written there? So he said, אמר ליומי כעמך ישראל גוי אחד בארץ. That when God see that we, a good role model for goodness, for kindness, for righteousness, etc. So in our language, God is proud of us. ומי משתבח ותשבריחו בשבחה יהודי ישראל? You're going to tell me that God, in a sense, feel proud of us? In דכתיב את השם אמרת היום וכתיב השם עמך היום. There are several sentences in the book of Deuteronomy that God asks us to behave in a certain way, and therefore they say that if everyone sees that we behave properly and we show a good role model for ethics and daily behavior in a daily life, not like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but we get to our working place. We said many times there is a Yaakov in the shul and is a Jack at work. And Yaakov in the shul is a righteous man and Jack at the stock market is crook. So we said that's not the way that when we show a good role model to others by proper behavior and others will see us as a good role model, in that sense we show a paragon of excellence in ethics, and therefore everyone will follow our footsteps. And then, in that sense, we make Almighty proud of us. אמר להם הקדוש ברוך הוא לישראל, אתם עשיתוני חטיבה אחת בעולם ואני אעשה אתכם חטיבה אחת בעולם. The same way God said that you make me חטיבה אחת, which means this is monotheistic belief that God is the Almighty is all one, which means that is no one else but only God, like Rabbeinu Sadia Gaon explained to us that this is the all monotheistic belief, that is the only one God and nothing else. We said at the beginning of the 13th principle of faith of the Maimonides. So the same way God said that it's in measure for measure, I'll make you a good role model to everyone. And how do you know it? שנאמר שמע ישראל השם אלוקינו השם אחד. That's what we said in last week's portion. We said it every day in Shema. Here Israel is the unification of God from the Deuteronomy 6 that you make God special, and therefore after we said the Shema Israel, and you know how many Jews just devoted their life to Shema Israel, the last thing that there was on their lips is the word Shema Israel. They went to a fire just to sanctify God's name. So therefore they said, "V'ani aseh etchem chadiva achat ba'olam shema u'mi k'amcha Yisrael v'echad ba'aretz." That God, in a sense, feel that it make us special. So there is a. I want to give just a few seconds, some point on the tefillin. Let me. I would like to use just as an example for those who are not so familiar. Because when we use this, I think it's important for people to be aware. So when it's come to the tefillin, we have a hand tefillin and we have the head tefillin. The hand tefillin, it's across of our heart. And you hear it from me many times. You go to those games. David is a fan of the Yankees. Glenn is a fan of the Ravens. So you know, when you go to these different baseball games, you have a certain code. The players have to wear a helmet and they have to wear a certain uniform. When we come to speak to the Almighty God, we have to wear our uniform. And our uniform is the tefillin, the talis and tefillin, that's the uniform that we go and speak before the Lord. But there is one part that we need to subjugate, which is our heart, and we put the hand tefillin against our heart. And then we put the head tefillin, which called the rosh, against in the center of our head. So the tefillin shel rosh, we say that you have this letter shin. Shin, it's Shem Hashem Nikra. The name of God is upon you. So shin, it's like the name. It's one line is the name Hashem, Yud, and Yud is name of God, and Nun, Shin Yud Nun. It's the word shin. It's like the name of God is we call upon. Now God is have no. We said Ein Lo Dmut Haguf. God is no human and He doesn't have a body, but it's just, we call it in Hebrew Midat Hanhaga Ba'olam, the way that God lead the world in our eyes, in our English. And so it's just a little tiny understanding. We put the tefillin in a certain location. The tefillin of Shel Rosh, we put it at the head, and we have two stripes, one that connected to another one on the back. So they said that The right side by the Kabbalah is called Sfirat HaChesed, is like the kindness. The left side is called Gvura, the strength. And we have the nut on the back, which is behind us. It's called combination of both, of Chesed and Gevura. It's two different Sfirot that it's combined together and it's hidden in this world. So sometimes in life you see a combination of Chesed and Gevura, of kindness and strength, that when we said at the end of Yom Kippur, God, Hashem wa Elokim, God is the God of truth and judgment. So Elokim, it's like God of judgment, but sometimes we interpret judgment in the wrong way. We believe that God is a loving God, and sometimes within the judgment there is a chesed, there is a kindness, that God does that either to improve the world, to improve us, or other reasons. So the head is above our shoulder, and that's what we see in this world, the chesed. If you look at the stripes, you see always that the right one is longer than the left one. And again, a little tiny Kabbalah, which is the right side is a expression of the Chesed, that Chesed overcome the Gevura, the kindness overcome the Gevura, and basically that's the way that is expression in our language, the way that God leading all of us. So the whole idea is that the tefillin carry a special power that is expression of God connected to us and to the world. It's like we make God, like we said in the Song of Songs, God and the Knesset Israel, the Assembly of Israel, they are connected. When we behave properly in the ethics of the Lord and wear this tefillin on a daily basis, people think, oh, that makes the rabbi happy, I'll put tefillin, or etc. But the truth of the matter is that if you want to be connected better to God, and you ask God for so many things, for health, for wealth, for many things, tefillin is the condition to be connected. You cannot go in the field as a baseball player without the uniform, just in a simple language. So again, we ask a question, why you need to have, within the tefillin you see a different components, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we said why you need to have all this. Different attributes of God in different time. Just running out of time, so we need to go a little faster. אשריך ישראל ומקמך ישראל בחד ביתה, או הנישא אלוקים בחד ביתה, או לדך עליון בחד ביתה. So it basically said that in each and every bite in the tefillin, וכולו כתיבי בעד רעי. So when you take the head tefillin, so you see that there is a line, is a 4 lines, or 4 different parshiyot. So there is a different order inside the parshiyot. You see here the line is inside, you have a different parshiyot. So this, they express it. So Rashi said, hey, v'chulu k'tiv b'adrei, kol ha'ktuvim ala ktuvim b'zorah v'bayit echad. All these different biblical sentences written in one bite, which is the hand one, that it's controlling the hand, it's subjugating the heart, the head is subjugating the mind, and in that sense we are all in the service of the Lord. Amar Ravin Baravad, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. כל הרגל לבוא לבית הכנסת ולא ביום אחד, הקדוש ברוך הוא משאיל לו. If a person gets used to come to shul every day, and one day is missing, God asking, where is Bruce? What happened to him? שנאמר מי בכם ירא השם שומע בכל עבדו אשר הלך חשיכים ואינו גלו. So he said, what's happening to this guy? Isaiah said in the chapter 50. It's like we need every person, but also God said what happened to him. If a person really goes to do a mitzvah, nogalo meaning that it's a well praised. If the person is busy with things that can taken care after davening or instead of davening, and his set of priorities it's other business things. It's I'm sorry to say, but it's more important than davening. So it's not praiseworthy, and he add here a very strong implication. יבטח בשם השם, הייתה משום דבר לבטח בשם השם ולא בטח. The person have a lack of faith, in a sense he is a very low faith of God, because if you believe in God, so the priority in your life should be first is daven to God, because He's the provider, He's giving the manna from heaven. If you are making all the arrangement, for example in business, instead of trusting God to believe that that's the take priority, then you show low level of faith. אמר רבי יוחנן בשעה שהקדוש ברוך הוא בא בית הכנסת ולא מצא בעשרה מיד הוא כועס. That's a very important statement. Rabbi Yochanan said that if God walk in the synagogue and he see that there is no minyan, is no 10 people, so it makes him angry. שנאמר, and that's a very strong sentence in the book of Isaiah, מדוע באתי ואין איש, קראתי ואין עונה. God said, and it's expression that Isaiah used, I'm here, I'm ready for you, and what do? You're not dwelling in the no minyan. So in other words, in a sense, it's not putting guilt, God forbid, to those who attend. It's put the responsibility for those who are not there, and again, he used the word that God is angry. אמר רבי אלבו אמר רב הונא, כל הקובע מקום לתפילתו, אלוקי אברהם בעזרו. Since the tefillah, the prayer, is like service in the Beit HaMikdash, and the proper honor in Beit HaMikdash, that the person has a spot that he can focus, because the same way as Abraham, we said that he has a certain place, soon you see the sentence, so tefillah in general apply to Shmona Esrei. When you're about to say Shmona Esrei, silent Amidah, you should have Arba Amot, you have the certain location that you have to focus, and that is your spot to focus. It doesn't need to me to be the exact location. More, there is the idea that you have to have an area that you can fully focus on Shmona Esrei, that you are really talking to God in silent, in a personal level. וכשמת אומרים עליו אי עניו, אי חסיד מתלמידיו של אברהם אבינו. That's very important. In all my 17 years on the rabbinate in this country, I attended, as you know, many hundreds of funerals, and I can't tell you how many times people just say an untruthful statement about the deceased, and people don't realize that it's created great sorrow to the deceased, and it's in numerous writings. So here you see a source that even a person located a special occasion for tefillah, for daily prayer, after his or her passing, there is those who represent him in heaven say that here is a student of Abraham, that what is written about Abraham, Avraham Avinu menalan dekava makom. How do you know that Abraham set a place? Because we said, and this is in the morning prayer, and it's from the book of Genesis 19. They said, Vayashkem Avraham baboker, Abraham arose in the morning, el hamakom asher amad sham. He went and prayed the place that he stood there. Dichtiv ve'en Amidah ela tefillah. What is that Amidah? To see the face of God. Ela tefillah. Shene'emar, it's written, Vayamod Pinchas vayfalel. In the book of Psalms 106, they said that Pinchas is he prayed. That's, by the way, the source of tefillah, of prayer, because the Hebrew shoresh of the word palal, pel, lamed, lamed, from the word Vayamod Pinchas vayfalel, that Pinchas prayed, is the source of tefillah. So before we go further, I want just to mention several Berachot. First of all, is from the Or HaChaim Tzaddik, in number 19, Or HaChaim, that said that, and I read from the Shulchan Aruch, ראוי לו לאדם שיקבע לעצמו מקום מיוחד שהוא מתפלל בו תמיד. The person should allocate a spot that he's davening every day. אם הוא מחוץ לבית כנסת ובבית הכנסת צריך לקבוע מקום לתפילתו. A person should allocate the place that he's davening. Next. אמר רבי חלמו אמר רבי הונא, יוצא מבית הכנסת על הפסיעה פסיעה גסה. A person walk out of the shul, he should show reluctance of leaving. In other words, he should not run out of the shul. It's incongruous, it's inappropriate to do it. אמר רביי לא אמרן אלא למייפק, אבל למאליו מצווה למירהד, שנאמר נרדפה לעילת השם. These statements only apply to a person who's leaving the synagogue. But they enter the synagogue, a person, it's a mitzvah to run to the synagogue. Because they said nirdefa, this like we chase, we run to see the Lord. That's from the book of Hosea 6. אמר רבי זרע מריש כי הרחב חזרנו לו רבנן דקראת לפי כד בשבתא אמינא קם לך לנו רבנן שבתא. So Rabbi Zera said at the beginning, I saw people running on Shabbat to hear a Torah study. So I said, well, what's wrong with them? Usually people walk on Shabbat, in a certain way we started doing Zemiros, that the person should go in a very calm and nice way on Shabbat. So why they run to the Shiurim? They see people rush to the Shiurim. So he said, because I heard the word of the rabbis, when it's come to halacha, a person can run even on Shabbat. They said in the book of Hosea 11 that they follow Hashem like a lion, which means without stopping, running fast. It's like the Talmud said in Berachot, in other location, that it's like a lion behind him. So they said here, Anna na meira heitna. So I also run even it's Shabbat. So by the way, that's also halacha, that basically a person on Shabbat should not run, only if it's come to Shurei Torah or on davening, that then the person can go a little faster. Amar Rabbi Zera agra defir kari hata. Rabbi Zera said the reward, again the reward in our language of hearing a Torah talk, it's because they run. In other words, you attend the lesson and you understand very little. So what the reward is schar alicha, because you run to hear the word of Torah. Amar Abaye agra de chala dukata. You enter the kala. Kala we explained earlier that is thousands of people attend a Torah study in Adar and Elul. So what's the reward? You're standing there, you are among so many people, and you don't understand much. So what's the reward? The reward is the fact that you make the effort to do chaka, that you squeeze yourself like a sardine. You're standing there among so many people. Amarava agra dishmata svara. So what's the reward in the study of Talmud? Even sometimes you don't know the psak halacha, the bottom line on halacha, is the discussion by itself is the reward. You know, obviously that study Talmud, many attorneys will tell us, here we are blessed with 27 attorneys in this congregation. So you know that many of them expresses that just by studying Talmud itself and having the discussion, it's already sharpening your brain. So the svara, Amar Papa Agra de Beitam Yashtikuta. What's the reward of attend the house of mourners? Is the idea we said from the book of Job that the person should keep himself silence to learn that the best way to express our sorrow and our mournings is by keeping silent. Amar Marzuta Adal Tani Tatzdakta. The reward of the fast is that, like Isaiah said in the 58, by giving charity. V'amar Versheshet Agra de Hespeda Daluye. The reward for eulogy is by caring people that they cry over the deceased that passed away. This is a two-way to understand it. It's one simple way that by attending the wedding, they participating with the wedding and give good word to the newly couple. These words, they get the reward for that. That's one way. But I heard from one of my rabbeim that said, Agra devei hilulei milei. When you have the yortzeit of a great man, of a tzaddik, of someone who's a great Talmid Chacham, milei, you use the word that he teaches, and that's, we said, siftotav medovevot bakever, his lips moving in his grave, again, in our language. So you have a yortzeit of a great sage, you use the word that he's teaching. If a person behind the synagogue is called wicked, which means that they said in Psalm 12, that meaning a person should daven in the synagogue, not behind. And some said it means that even a person will turn his back to the synagogue and daven. Which means that it's different way to daven. But if a person davening and is turning his back to the synagogue, that's prohibited. Otherwise, it's okay if a person did not daven face and being part of it. There's a story about the person that davened behind the synagogue and his face is not upon the synagogue. Again, it's a few ways to understand it. Either he wasn't in the Mizrach, in the east, like everyone else, or he turned his back. Depends how you see it. Taya'a is an Arabic word for the Arab shepherds. It's like one of those Babylonian tribes that called Taya'a. So here one interpretation is Elijah saw him and he appeared like a Taya'a, like an Arab. But other rabbis hold that it's really, the Maharsha said that it was an Arab. And Maharsha have a very beautiful interpretation. It's Amar le Kadu bar Kayamat Kameh Marach Is that the way you're serving your Lord, your God? Shelaf safsera vekatle. He pulled out his sword and he killed him. So again, you can go by the Marsha that said that it was some local shepherd that was angry over a certain behavior, or you can say that it's a real Eliyahu. So few halachot we learned so far that a person should not rush out of synagogue, should be reluctant when he leaves the synagogue. That's the Or HaChaim Tzaddik 90. But to go to the synagogue, a person must run. But he said, regarding Shabbat, the Or HaChaim Shin Aleph said, Af she'asur lifsoa kseya b'Shabbat, even we're not allowed to run fast on Shabbat, בכל מקום, אם הולך הוא לשמוע דברי תורה, מותר ללכת ממוצע. If a person go to hear the word of Torah, he can go fast even on Shabbat. Another halacha we learn from Yoredea Shin Dalet Mem, Agra de Espeda de Loye, that the person who make the eulogy should raise his voice like he's crying in order for people to open their heart and cry over the losing of the deceased. And another halacha from Or HaChaim Tzaddik that said that a person should always stand in a place that everyone prayer, which is toward the east, and should not turn back his back to the shul. Let's finish this session. אמר להוא מרבנן לרבי ברביי ואמר לרבי ולרב נחמן בר יצחק מהי קרום זולות לבני אדם? There is a pasuk that use the word קרום זולות לבני אדם. What does that mean of this sentence? אמר לאלו דברים שעומדים ברובו של עולם ואדם מזלזל בהם. So Rashi explained כגון תפילה שעולה למעלה, that people belittle the value of praying. They don't understand how prayer has an effect. It's an Israeli scientist that became Baal Tshuva, and he said that he make a research over different plants, and he put a couple of 100 plants, and he divided the two different group of students, and one group of students pray while they put the water in the plants, and another student did not pray. And he said that those plants that come out of prayer were much bigger and longer, which means he tried to prove the value of bracha. So the same is the value of tefillah, that the people sometimes belittle tefillah. אמר רבי יוחנן ורבי אלעזר דם בדבר וכמובן להשתרך אדם על הבריות ופניו משתלות כקרום. Unfortunately, but a person turned poor and needs people for help, so his face changed, meaning since he is in a great need, he's a different, looks different. מהי קרום? נאמר קרום זול לבן אדם. מהי קרום? כי האתר עבדימי אמר עוף אחד יש בחכם קרום שמו. There is a certain fly that is called קרום, וכיוון שחמה זורחת מתהפך לכמה גוונים. It's like when the sun rises, it changes different phases, different look. And he said, רבי עמי ורבי יסי דמת רבהו כאילו נדון בשתי דינים אש ומים. Like he's judged by the two different entities, one is the fire, one is water, שנאמר הרכבת על ראש לראשנו, באנו באש ומים. This is from Psalm 66. That it means that it's a combination of two, of fire and water. ואמר רבי חלבו אמר רבונה לעולם יהיה אדם זהיר בתפילת המנחה. Now we talk about the value of davening mincha. Sometimes people belittle mincha because it's during the day and they are so busy in daily mundane, they don't value the importance of mincha. And mincha is a very crucial prayer. Soon you see why. שהרי אליהו לא נענה אלא בקריאת מנחה. The great Eliyahu was answered only during the time of mincha. That's from the book of Kings, chapter 18. שנאמר ויהי בעלות המנחה ויגש אליהו הנביא ויאמר. They said when the time of mincha Elijah raised and he said Aneni Hashem Aneni, please answer me God, answer. So he said twice. Why he said it twice? Aneni שתרד אש מן השמיים, please answer me that the fire shall come down from heaven, and against all the false prophets. וענני שלא יאמרו מה שכסופים. And the other, I need help, that people should not think that I'm like one of those false magicians that try to make all kind of impression. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Rabbi Yochanan add to that, ואף בתפילת ערבית. It's also important to know that Mariv is also great value. שנאמר תיקון תפילתי כתוב לפניך מסד כפיים מנחת ערב. So again, this to emphasize to some people that thinking that Shachris is more important than Mincha Mariv, he wants to say that it's very, very important, those prayers as well. רבי נחמן בר יצחק אמר עד תפילת שחרית, שנאמר השם בוקר תשמע קולי בוקר תפילת צפה. So in conclusion, all the three prayers in our sense are equally important, and should people not belittle one more than the others. You see as an example that Eliyahu was answered doing mincha. ואמר רבי חלבו אמר רבונה כל אינה מסעודת חתן בנו סמכו עובר בחמישה קולות. The person who attend wedding and the only thing he cares is how the chicken tastes or how the dancing, and he missed the most important part, which is to make the chatan, the bride and the groom, happy. So שנאמר, because it's written כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה, כל אומרים הודו את השם צבאות. So since they use the word call 5 times, which means that that is very important in a sense 5 times, that it makes them happy. That's the crucial part for people to attend wedding, is to make the bride and groom happy, not for myself, not to be in a selfish, how the food, but how to make them happy. So it's always, I keep telling people that you know, the beauty of the caterer, it's not the point of the wedding. The point of the wedding is to make the bride and groom happy. That's the mitzvah. And if you make them happy, what's the reward? What's more than a person reward to have a special heavenly help when he studied Torah, that the Torah was giving the Chamisha Kolot the same sense, and because it's written in Shemot, it was on the third day when it's the sunrise, ויהי קולות וברקים וענד כבד על ההר וכל שופר. So it's 5 different קולות, 5 different sounds. ויהי קול השופר והאלוקים יננו בקול. הנה, is that true? והכתיב וכל העם רואים את הקולות, they say that all the people see the voices. אותם קולות וקודם מתן תורה אהבו. That's before giving the Torah. רבי אבאו אמר כאילו הקריב תודה. רבי אבאו said that if a person makes a bride and groom happy, it's like bringing the sacrificial offering of thanksgiving. שנאמר מביאים תודה בית השם, because it's written מביאים תודה בית השם. So we learn from that sentence that it's like bringing a korban, an offering to God. רב נחמן בר יצחק אמר כאילו בנה אחת מחורבות ירושלים. It's like he built one of the destruction part of the wall of Jerusalem, שנאמר כי אשיב את שבות הארץ כבראשונה מהראשון. So in short, what Rabbi Chelbo said here, that is a huge mitzvah to make the bride and the groom happy, to lift them, and it's written 5 different verses, the importance of make them uplifted and happy. Now the conclusion, it's again for 2 memorot from Rabbi Chelbo. ואמר רבי חלבו אמר אבונה כל אדם שיש בו יראת שמיים דבריו נשמעים. A person have a fear of God, so people will listen to him. שנאמר סוף דבר הכל נשמע את האלוקים ירא ואת מצוותיו שמור כי זה כל האדם. The end of the book of Kohelet, the book of Ecclesiastics, the very end, they said that what's the purpose of life in chapter 12 at the very end. He says that the key point for a person is to have a fear of God and serve his Lord with the mitzvot. מהי כי זה כל האדם. That's the purpose of the whole person. Why it's the end? רבי אלעזר, אמר רבי אלעזר, אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא, כל העולם כולו נברא אלא בשביל זה. A person that they have a fear of God, people will listen to him because he and God in a sense are partner, because all his essence is to do Torah and mitzvot and serve God. רבי אבא כהנא אמר שקול זה כנגד כל העולם כולו. He's like equal to the entire world. רבי שמעון בן עזאי אומר, ואמר לרבי שמעון בן זומא אומר, כל העולם כולו לא נברא אלא לצוות לזה. Meaning that the whole world is built in order to follow that person. ואמר רבי חלבו אמר אבונה, that's the conclusion. כל שיודע בחברו שהוא רגיל לתת לו שלום יקדים לו שלום. It's very important to say hello, good morning to other people. שנאמר, it's written in the book of Tehillim, Psalm 34, בקש שלום ורודפהו, pursue peace and running after that, which means you have to say hello and good morning and have a good day or shalom to everyone. ואם לא נתן ולא יחזיר, now via negativa, if a person did not say hello to other people, נקרא גזלן, is called like a person who is a thief. Why? שנאמר, ואתם ביארתם הקרן גזלת אני בבתיכם. Isaiah said in chapter 3 that when a poor person comes to you and he asks for help, right? So you basically need to help that poor person. Now, if someone asks you for something and you can give him and you don't give him, you're basically created sorrow for that person. Now, if a person, he is in that sense poor because he needs you smile, he needs you to say to him hello, and you don't say hello, it's like you're taking something from him because it doesn't cost you anything. And since we said we have to pursue peace, that's so important to say hello to people and to be nice to people, to smile to people, because this is a gift that God gave you to say hello to people. And for some people, that's make or break it, make the day happy if you say hello to each and everyone properly.
I